update and also Bulavinaka to everyone watching us on Fiji Village social media platform. Minister for National Disaster Management Sakyasi Nditoka says the most vulnerable at the evacuation centers and those affected by severe tropical cyclone Mel will be assisted on a case-by-case basis if the need arises. While speaking in an interview with Fiji Village News this afternoon, Ditoka says according to the National Disaster Management Act, the government is required to provide rations to affected families after 48 hours. However, they are already on the ground assessing the situation and ensuring the people get the required help.
We are dealing with it on a case-by-case basis, looking on the needs basis. If there are people, especially people coming from the informal settlements, and they're not well placed to look after themselves, then we can see how we can accommodate those. That has been taken care of right now. We're looking at how we can provide rations for those types of families and individuals.
Meanwhile, Ditoka says the ministry worked well with all the agencies and based on learning experiences from the past and institutional knowledge, they achieved a lot. He says we are fortunate that TC Mel remained in open seas, but they were prepared for the worst. He has also thanked the people for quickly responding to the public advisories. And all schools will reopen tomorrow, and those schools used as evacuation centers will be cleared by this evening. The decision was made today after deliberation by the emergency committee. Other issues that have been confirmed from the meeting are all civil servants will resume work from tomorrow, and businesses will resume as usual from tomorrow as well. A storm wind warning remains in force for Kandavu and nearby smaller islands. Expect storm force winds with speeds of 110 kilometers per hour with gusts to 155 kilometers per hour. Severe tropical cyclone Mel has been downgraded to a category 2 system. The Nandi Weather Office says TC Mel, located 140 kilometers south-southwest of Kandavu, is expected to continue on a southeast trek away from the Fiji group. They say a gale warning remains in force for southwestern Viti Levu, and that is from Momi to Singatoka to Namatakula and Vatulele. A strong wind warning remains in force for the Mamanuda group, northern, western, and interior Viti Levu, Totoya, Matuku, Moala, and Lomaiviti group. There were no damages to school infrastructure as classes resume tomorrow. This was stated by Permanent Secretary for Education Selina Kuruleda to the media this afternoon after receiving situation reports from schools around the country, including the maritime areas.
Captain Lal is certainly free to express his own opinions, and that's okay with me. And
we'll come back to Selina Kuruleda. She says in her conversation with the Ministry of Infrastructure, there is no damage to water lines and electricity. Kuruleda says about 25 schools were used as evacuation centers and they will be disinfected this afternoon. The Permanent Secretary says students should inform schools if they are unable to attend, as safety is a priority, especially for the ministry. She says the external exams will continue next Tuesday with the Year 13 and Year 12 on the 28th of this month. And moving on, Minister for National Disaster Management Sakyasi Nditoka says he does not see anything wrong with having a bit of downtime and discussing things over Tanoa after a long day, following criticisms leveled against Nditoka by Fiji First MP Ketan Lal. Ketan Lal shared a post of the Attorney General Siromi Turanga, where Turanga said he made a brief visit to the headquarters of Ministry of Rural and Maritime Development and Disaster Management yesterday afternoon after a meeting of permanent secretaries of the Emergency Committee. The post had photos of the Attorney General and the Minister for Disaster Management having some grog with other officials. Lal says we should give them the award of Coalition Groggy Ministers for 2023 and that the ministers should be fired as they were busy drinking grog while the people were suffering and preparing for the worst. While responding to questions from Fiji Village News today, Ditoka says this was being done after a long day's work.
Captain Lal is certainly free to express his own opinions, and that's okay with me. And What happened yesterday was just an informal get together. At the end of the working day, everybody's been working according to hectic schedules and all that. So I believe every now and then we deserve to have some a little bit of downtime, and that's what will happen. And I think the camaraderie that happens between the agencies as we talk and informally and discuss things over Tarnoa, it's something that's age old in Fiji, and it's nothing new. It's what happens in Fiji.
While responding to our questions, Attorney General Siromi Turanga says after the emergency meeting of permanent secretaries yesterday, he joined later to discuss with Nitoka about the National Disaster Bill, which they hope to table in Parliament early next year. Turanga says Ketan Lal does not understand the mechanics of disaster management. He says Lal's unfair criticisms speak volume of the usual naive and cheap shots at the government ministry. The Attorney General says obviously Lal fails to understand the collaboration of different agencies in times of natural disasters. He says some civil servants and cabinet ministers are away from their respective families to attend to pressing national needs. He says people like Ketan Lal and so called commentators obviously stay indoors and make judgments from the comfort of their homes. Turanga says the discussions and conversations around a Tanoa is not an entirely a new experience during disaster briefings. It is also an opportunity for government officials to share their personal and professional experiences of past natural disasters. And acting Prime Minister Professor Biman Prasad says Minister for National Disaster Management Sakyasin Ditoka, who is leading the government operations relating to tropical cyclone Mel, is doing a fantastic job, and people can see the efficient and effective delivery of services. While reacting to questions regarding the criticisms by Fiji First MP Ketan Lal, Professor Prasad says all arrangements were in place and 182 evacuation centers are active. He also said this is probably the first time after so many years that we can see a government that is clearly focused on making sure that they inform the public in the most effective way and their communication has been efficient. He says comments coming from Ketan Lal are wildly foolish, reckless, and uncontrolled.
The government is not bothered by that kind of deranged behavior on the part of a member of parliament who often gets very personal and attacks the honorable prime minister or attacks ministers. It is really unbecoming of someone who is a member of parliament at this point in time focused on creating unnecessary, wildly foolish, reckless, and uncontrolled, stupid comments, about what the government is doing, in terms of disaster preparedness, helping our people, addressing all our communication.
And moving on to just having a look at roads. If you're traveling along Queens and Kings roads, please be advised that both roads are open to all traffic. They have all been cleared. The Fiji Roads Authority says some roads are currently closed due to fallen power lines, trees, and flooding in the Eastern Division at Nandarivatu Road and near Nandala Village, while Wainak Loka crossing is closed and Nambasovi to Nambuna is open for four-wheel drive vehicles only. In the Central Division, Dholata Crossing, Nambuka Luka, Delaila Sakau Road, Wainranra Crossing, Waima Crossing, and Waiwatu Crossing are closed to drivers, while Waimbau, Vatundavila Road, Wailoa Road, Namasimasi Road, and Waila Road are open for four-wheel drive vehicles only. In the Northern Division, Vudimbasonga, Calvert Crossing, and Vunika Hill near Nag Mandir are closed to drivers, while Nambilondra Crossing is open to four-wheel drive vehicles only. The Savura raw water intake that was blocked due to turbidity and as a result raw water inflow into the Tamavua water treatment plant that was reduced has been cleared. However, the treated plant in Tamavua will take time to rebuild supply at the reservoirs. This has been highlighted by the Water Authority of Fiji this afternoon. WEF also says the supply is currently disrupted to Fijians in Navua as the raw water intake at Wainikavika is heavily blocked due to the ongoing heavy rain experienced since yesterday. However, water cutting trucks have been deployed to provide relief to affected customers. WEF Chief Executive Officer Dr. Amit Chanan says with TC Mel having passed Viti Levu, The WEF team is still doing assessments of any damages in different areas. He said there were some disruptions in Singatoka due to a burst main, which has been fixed. The chief executive officer says the water supply in the northern and the western division has been operating normally. And in sports, Mesulame Kunavula has signed a one-year deal with the New South Wales Waratahs for the 2024 Shop and Save Super Rugby season. The blockbusting back rower brings with him a wealth of experience playing for the top 14 French club Brive and making 23 appearances for Edinburgh in the Pro 12 competitions. The former Fiji 7s and 15s player will add size and skill to the 2024 Waratahs team. And that's your update for this hour. Stay with us for more in the next hour.